In 1990, the city of Gainesville, Florida, was hit with terror. Over the course of just a few days, 5 college students were brutally murdered in their apartments. The details of the killings were horrifying. Danny Rolling, the man behind these attacks, was later dubbed the Gainesville Ripper. Danny Rolling wasn't just an impulsive killer. His crimes were methodically planned and driven by a dark, twisted desire for violence. He broke into the homes of his victims, attacking them while they were vulnerable. Rolling wasn't satisfied with merely killing. He mutilated his victims in ways that amplified the terror. He would often pose their bodies, leaving scenes that haunted both investigators and the community. Born in 1954, Danny Rolling had a troubled upbringing. His father was a violent police officer who frequently abused him, both physically and emotionally. Rolling's childhood was marked by neglect, beatings, and psychological torment. As he grew older, he started to show signs of the psychopathy that would later define him. He committed a string of petty crimes, burglaries, and violent incidents long before he became a killer. But what made Rolling so disturbing was his lack of remorse. He viewed the world through a lens of rage, shaped by his abusive upbringing and personal failures. The brutality of his crimes in Gainesville wasn't a spontaneous act of violence. It was the culmination of years of pent-up anger, loneliness, and detachment from reality. When Rolling was finally captured and put on trial, he didn't deny his crimes. In fact, he even confessed to a triple homicide in Louisiana that had gone unsolved. His disturbing drawings and writings gave authorities a look into his mind, one filled with twisted fantasies and demonic imagery. During his trial, Rolling claimed that he had been influenced by a dark entity, a demonic force he called Gemini, which he said guided him to commit these heinous acts. By the mid-1990s, a new kind of horror movie was in the works that would go on to become a cultural phenomenon. Scream, directed by Wes Craven and written by Kevin Williamson, was a slasher film that played with horror tropes and subverted audience expectations. But what many people don't know is that part of the inspiration for the movie came from the real-life terror of Danny Rolling. Kevin Williamson, the screenwriter of Scream, was reportedly watching a news special about the Gainesville Ripper when the idea for the movie came to him. The notion of a killer stalking young people in a small town with no clear reason other than bloodlust mirrored the terror that Rolling had inflicted on Gainesville. While Scream added layers of satire and meta-commentary on horror films, the core idea, a masked killer targeting victims one by one, drew from the real-life horror of Rolling's murders. Danny Rolling was sentenced to death for the Gainesville murders and was executed in 2006. In his final moments, Rolling sang a religious hymn, a chilling end for a man whose life was marked by violence and death. His crimes left a permanent scar on the city of Gainesville, but they also contributed indirectly to pop culture, thanks to the Scream franchise,